G'day, punters. It's grind time. Welcome back and congratulations. Congratulations. Why? Because you have tuned in and you want to become a better punter, which is what we are trying to do here on the grind. So, congrats for tuning in. Also, congratulations and a big thank you to everyone who commented on both videos, the Friday video and the grind last week, the max bet. So thank you very much. It's through the roof. And thirdly, thank you to everyone who's signed up, gone to the king.zone and signed up. There's a 24-hour free trial there. We're also going to run a big Darwin Cup special Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So stay tuned for that. I wish I was up at the Darwin Cup actually having a few beers. There's a great ball. There used to be anyway. I haven't been for many years, but it's a great carnival, the Darwin Cup. So I wish I was heading up there, but I'm not. I'm here grinding. It's what we do. So let's have a look at the screen that you can see in front of you. That is last week's results. So this week I'm going to go through what happened last week for me on the punt. Then we're going to have a look back at Saturday, have a look at a few bias tracks and how you handle the bias tracks. And then I'm going to do a bit more of a deep dive, which I said last week, into the advanced settings, and also have a look at the stats for the actual tips and a lot of the ratings, which will reveal a bit, and also show you that tool that I want to get out in a couple of months. So let's start with last week. So this is the official tips, which I've already run this query, but as you can see, 21st to the 27th yesterday, Sunday, the golden bullets, the good roughies, and the backs, 80 tips or 80 bets for me, 16 winners, 20% strike rate, and a 14% ROI profit. I was losing coming into Sunday, had a fat Sunday. I think it was about 130% ROI on Sunday. 2 or 3 golden bullets hit the line, which was fantastic at good odds. A couple of them as well. So I had a fill up yesterday, but not a fill up for the week, but certainly turned the week around and showed a profit for the week. So that was the 14%. Let's just have a quick look at for the week at a couple of other metrics as well. This one really surprised me was the number one selection, or the top selection in the race from the TKZ website. So there's 306 races for the week, 96 winners, a strike rate of 31%, and a ROI of 24%. So if you just go and have a look at today, where are we today? We've got Kempsey and Toowoomba on. So let's just pick another race, Toowoomba race 4 there. You can see the selections here. So we've gone 3, the Deputy from 1, Sky Wolf, and number 7, the Cracker there as well. So every race on the TKZ website has selections. So this is when I'm talking about top selection. This is what I'm talking about. Obviously, the GB in Toowoomba race 3 is the top selection. So let's just go back to that analysis screen. So that's what it was, 306 for 96, 24%. What's interesting is those top selections keep outperforming the actual official tips, which is a good thing in a way because there's more of them. So let's just have a quick look at the lays. I did lay a few horses, especially on Saturday, which we'll go into. But those lays, if you had to back the lays, you lost 22, we'll say 23%. There's quite a few of them, 207 lays, only 24 of them got the cash. So all the bookies, all the layers, all the traders out there, it's a really good tool because a lot of these drift as well. So if you're a trader, you can get them in and sort of green book up there on Betfair. So that was it. That was it for the week. Showed a profit, got back on top. Didn't have to give myself a half-time speech at the end of the week. But I do the same thing, win, lose or draw, I grind away. So let's talk about Saturday, because Saturday was a really interesting day. And I'm going to have a look at Adelaide. I'm going to put a replay up here while I chat away. So let's have a look at Adelaide race 1. So there's a lot of rain around on Saturday. Randwick, there's a bit rain. Up in Brizzy, they got rain. Caulfield, there's a bit of rain. And in Adelaide as well, which makes it pretty tricky to punt. Let's have a look at this first race from Adelaide. You'll see the horse missed the kick. The blue horse, which was the winner here, Shoeless, sits wide, sits in the blue there, sits back and wide. Let's have a look at. I'll fast forward a bit here. You can see still second last. and going to fast forward here to the turn. Well, you'll see where Shoeless gets on the turn. Going to peel out here a bit more. Peel out, looks hard ridden here, under the stick, give a couple of bats, pulls out wide, and the second horse gets pretty wide as well, off the fence, third in the yellow cap there, just pulling around. So that's where the two first and second place getters are. But look where Shoeless comes down the middle of the track here. So it was a soft track, or heavy track, and we get rain. I'll show you race 2 in a sec, but you can see where those winners are coming down the middle. The fence doesn't particularly look the place to be in, and you'll assume that it's going to get worse during the day. So let's just have a look at race 2 there. So that was race 1. Half an hour later, race 2 goes. And you can see that it's absolutely pissing down by race 2. And I'm not going to show you this whole race, but have a look at those conditions. Obviously, the inside of the track isn't going to be really, as it chops up and the meeting gets on worse. So this leader looks like it's bolting here, which is pretty big odds, the leader actually. And then Ingani is the winner in this race. And Ingani sits third or fourth and peels out, really bolts away, but comes down to the middle of this track. Look at this. This leader looks like it's, going to be pretty hard to run down here. And then Ngani gets out to the middle of the track and just goes bang and wins by about 3 or 4. But what you can see here, I'm not going to go through every race, but what you can see here is there's a clear pattern developing where the inside of the track is inferior. Those lanes 1 or 2 are inferior there. So if we just go to have a look at the last race, and then I'll talk about what betting strategy that I think you should be implying here, because a lot of the time, I think it's got to a heavy 10, this track as well. And when the track gets to a heavy 10, the form that you've done pre-meeting and when track conditions change, I think it's not irrelevant, but it needs to be changed. And it's so important. This is the last race, but it's so important as a punter to adapt. And that's one thing that I need to get better doing. I'm very good at adapting at market changes. I'm very, very good at adapting to new data that comes on board. But what I need to get better at is adapting to changes during the meeting. And have a look at how they're panning here, these horses. Have a look at when they come around the turn, how spread across the track is. And the winners are both coming out wide here. The winners out wide drew barrier 15. The winner, what's it called? Solar Mist and Perfect Lights. Have a look at that. Have a look at that across the track there. There's, 15 horses across the track there. First and second are down the outside there. Both drawn barriers 10, both drawn outside barriers 11 and barriers 15 or something like that. So as you can see, they got wider and wider and wider there at Morphettville. So I just want to tell you some stats there from Morphettville. I think 75% of the winners were drawn in the outside 75% of barriers. So that's huge. The outside 70% of barriers. So if there's a field of 10, there's only barriers 8, 9, and 10. So 75% of those winners from the 9 races, I think 7 out of 9 races, came from the outside 75% barrier-wise. So if you threw all the form out the window, where I'm going with this is if you threw all the form out the window and you just backed or you just circled those outside barriers when the inside of the track is off, doesn't mean it's a heavy track or it doesn't have to be a heavy track. It's when the inside is markedly off. If you back those outside barriers, I'd say probably the outside 50. Morphettville was particularly bad, but the results don't always go like that. There was a winner, which was a huge run in about race 7 that Rochelle Mills rode and got up the inside and won. So, it can happen, but 75% out of 75% is huge. But let's just go back to some rules which I would set. 50% on wider, and this is backed up with data that I've run. 50% on wider, and you also don't want to be finding on-paced horses because they're usually horses that preferably want the inside track. So if you're an on-pace horse and you're having to get 3 or 4, or in some cases 10 or 11 off the fence, and we'll go and have a look at the last year at Randwick soon. But if you're a horse that is having to get 3, 4, 5 off the fence. You're going to have to run longer. It's very hard to lead. It's not impossible, but it's very hard to lead. So what do you want to find? You want to find outside 50% of barriers. You want to find horses that are going to settle in the back 50% of the field as well, and then peeling around them. You're looking for horses that are going to get cover and they're going to settle back. And I also think that the jockey is very important. So you want to be avoiding inexperienced jockeys on biased tracks. Especially where they're having to judge the right part of the track. And so those three things, I think, if you stuck to that theory of those three: experienced jockeys, horses that are going to settle in the back 50% of the field, or at least in the not in the first 4, and horses that are drawn the 50% or wider, that is an extremely profitable system for tracks where the inside's off. So instead of penning the whole meeting, maybe you just pen your form, or just look for the chances that are drawn wide and do fit that criteria. So I want to talk about where there's advantage as well. And there was a horse in the last race in Randwick on Saturday, Punton, so let's just go through firstly before we get to the last race. So at Randwick, race 1, 5th fence, was the only horse that come up the fence all day. Second, sat midfield, 3 off the fence. Race 3, 5th, sat 5th, 3 off. Race 4, 5th, 4 off. Race 5, sat second, on outside leader, 2 off. Race 6 came from last, came 5th off. Race 7, sat second, again outside leader, 2 off. Race 8 came from second last, got 10 off the rails. Race 8, that was race 8, second last, 10 off. Race 9, settled 4th last, got 4 off the rails, came through the middle a little bit. And then we come to the last race. So you can see that the inside's off. No leaders have won in Sydney. No leaders have been hard fence except the first. A couple sat outside the leader and won. So then you get a horse like Punton in the last race, 1,800 metres for the first time. So probably runs the 1,800. I'm not saying the horse doesn't run the 1,800. Does it run a strong 1,800? We don't really know. So you've got a wettish track, but you've got a fence-off track over 1,800 metres where the horse is going to have to sit, going to have to lead. Now, there's no pace at all in this race, and the horse is going to lead, which prior to the meeting, you'd say, yes, that's fantastic. There's no pace in this race. Punton's going to lead, going to stack them up, and going to run this strong 1,800 metre race. But with the track the way it was and the inside off, what I'm saying is you need to adjust. You need to adjust, and it's a very, very hard thing to do, to adjust your thoughts, because you're so excited about this. Baker's tipping it. It's a moral. It's my best bet of the day. Punton, and you've got it in your head, and it's very hard to change. It's very hard to go, I'm not going to back Punton now. I'm not saying lay Punton, but it's very hard it's hard to change and then turn around, because we might have regret off what if Punton wins, and I've got so excited about it for the last few days. But I think it's very important to adjust to these track conditions. So let's have a look what happened. Punton was drawn off the rails, and hang on one sec. So Punton was drawn off the rails and going to go and lead as well. So does go to the front. I'm just going to fast forward. We're not going to watch the whole race, but does go forward and leads pretty comfortably. Now let's go and see what happens on the turn here. There's the horse is going good. If this is a leader's track, I think Punton wins this race. But look what happens here. They come round, and Punton's having to go off the fence here. And he's getting attacked out wide. And as you can see, it's just too much over that 1,800 metres when they're getting off the fence. So the other thing that I want to comment on this is Punton was really still well backed. You could lay at about 230, 240. I got in at 240. Prior to the race, I thought it was about a $3 chance. And after, I didn't adjust as in, what price do I have it now? But I knew it was a risk. So that was a horse that I laid and got right. But if I think that's a fence on fire track, then Punton wins that race. So there's a lot of value, I think, in adjusting to track conditions. because I don't think a lot of people do it during the day. And I think it's something, if you're not a form expert, like everyone gets ratings nowadays. If you're not a ratings, you're not a ratings man, so on and so forth. I think that there's an opportunity there to really make money through bias. Throw the form guide out the window and just play the bias, especially whether it's leaderish. So you're looking for two things. If you're biased, you're looking for fence on fire leaderish, or you're looking for fence off like it was there at Randwick and Morphettville for the day. So what I'd love from you is any thoughts or any theories on track bias. If you can put them down in the comments below, I would really appreciate that, because that's somewhere where I really want to improve. And I think moving forward, with data dominating, especially with AI techniques going to dominate in years to come, I think that on the day of the meeting, track bias is something that will live on as an edge for years to come. So let's get better at it. Right, enough track bias talk. Let's move on to talking about results and talking about analysis, which is my wheelhouse, to be honest with you. So let's have a look. We had a look at last week. Let's have a look at a few overall. So the King Zone launched on the 12th of June to the 27th of June, which was Sunday, which was our fill-up day. Let's just quickly have a look. We've had 602 tips, 110 winners, 18.27. The average for that's about 19, so I expect the results to improve. 3.4%, 3.5% profit there, which I expect to improve as well. Let's have a look at the number one selection quickly. Oh, no, did I have lays in that? No, I don't think I did have lays in that. That's what it was, 3.5%. So number one selection is outperforming the actual tips. Let's have a quick look. Nearly up to 10%. So that's a good sample size there, 2,134. 28%, a lot more shorter priced horses. Probably that's the average of around $3.50. So we're obviously not tipping every favourite there. Sometimes I think we had Jimmy the Bear, second pick on Saturday. So it's not like we're tipping every favourite at all. There's $6, $7 winners in there. But anyway, 10%. I'm really happy with that for top selection because there's so many of them, 2,134. Let's just have a quick look at the lays to get the disparity of difference there. Lays, you lose 15%, 1,588 for 200. So you can see 15% lays against top selection at 10% is a 25% difference between top and bottom. So that's pretty good to get a 25% spread there. I had a few questions through customer service during the week about days of the week. So in the advanced filters here, we do have days of the week there, but it's only a month. I'll have a quick look at Saturdays after we have a look at the overall through my old database. The reason I don't want to go through every days of the week because it's only a sample size of 6-7 weeks, so it's not really big enough. But let's have a look at the days of the week, which are here. So 13.6% best of the best overall. Saturday was slightly lower at call it 12%. You can see the best day of the week there was Fridays, 20%. Who knows why? 2,900. I wouldn't sit here and say Friday's the best day of the week to bet in. Thursday, Wednesday was lower. So you can see those two sort of main days were a bit lower. I sometimes think the markets on metros are a bit, it's easier. It's a bit more accurate than those country meetings. So let's just have a look as well. And I'll have a look at best top fluck and best tote when I'm having a look at this. So this is country broken down. You can see that 13.56% is the same for best of the best. Country races plus 20, metro races plus 11, and provincial races 9.8%. So country races plus 20, best of the best. It's not realistic because you're punching out the best. The best totes are punching out quite a bit, especially up in country races. People are manipulating totes, which includes that. So let's have a look at top fluck for this one and just see how it translates. So top fluck, metro 7.7%. So these are these top fluck means fixed odds, top price. It's not really top price. It's top price of the official algorithm that was created. So it's sort of average of top price from 20 minutes out. So country race is still 14.8% with 6,000 bets. Metro 7.7% with 5,000 bets. And the provincials 4.9 with 8,200 bets. Even with these high sample sizes, you still get anomalies. Like I expect that country to come down, and I expect the provincial to go up. The metros I'd expect to probably stay the same at around that 7.7%. So that's the top fluck. If we have a look at the actual best tote with SP, country 10, metros 2.8, and provincials 2% with 4.9% profit from 19,600 bets betting best tote. The other thing that I wanted to have a look at now, the Golden Bullets have been going shithouse up until Sunday. So let's just go and have a look how they actually have gone. Now, this is what gives me confidence that things will turn around. So I'll just close this. We're going to get back to this advanced filters in a sec. I'm just going to close this and run the Golden Bullets, the flagship product, which is letting the team down at the moment. So since we started, 104 bullets, 26 wins, 25%. Golden Bullets are normally in the market. I think they won't be over around that sort of $7 mark. But there's a loss there of 9.8%. If I go and have a look at the history of the Golden Bullets, which is here. So this is best of the best, 14% in 2023, 14% in 2024, 22% in 2025, and an average of 16. So you can see that it's slightly higher. It's probably, 13? So it's 3% higher. If you took the backs, it'd probably be around, 11 or 12, and the Bullets around 16. So they're better, but they're not like it's certainly not free money. We know that. But let's see. So what I wanted to say as well is, so 2025 showing a 22% profit. You might be saying, well, they've been shit since, inception, which was mid-June. But prior to that, they are winning a lot and, winning above average. So my point is in 2025, that's why we're seeing a bit of a downturn. And I've talked about this before. This game doesn't let you get too far ahead. If you're winning too much, it'll come back down. And that's what's happening with these bullets a little bit. It's just bad timing, unfortunately, with the product being launched mid-June, that it wasn't launched, January 1, and then those bullets would be showing a 22% profit. So whether they come back around straight away, I don't know the answer to that. Maybe they're going to win 25%. For 2025, and then in 2026, possibly maybe 8 or 10. I don't know the answer to it. All I know is if you keep having bets that are above expectation, taking $2.10, about $2 chances, you're going to finish with money. Sometimes, and if we go back and have a look at the days of the week here, which I'll do now, sometimes you just don't know when it's going to come. So if I tick the 3 boxes and have a look at Saturdays, which are under these advanced filters. So we've had 7 Saturdays. The first 3 Saturdays were a fill-up. The last 4 Saturdays have been no good. So you don't know when those days are going to come. That's why consistency is extremely important. So we're losing 4.5% on Saturdays. So it's not, it's not a disaster, but it's certainly not good. And we want to get that red to be showing green by the end of the year. But whether that profit comes on a Saturday, I don't know. Maybe Saturday will be the best day of the year. Maybe it'll be the worst. It's really hard. It's hard to know. It's impossible to know. But one thing I do know is you don't have to bet 7 days a week. What the King Zone system gives you is an edge. So you're getting $2.10, call it about the toss of a coin. If you keep running that over and over and over, it doesn't mean just backing the tips. It means, looking at the prices, looking at the top selections, using it in conjunction with your own form if you want to. You can just back the tips if you want to. Up to you. But what this system does is it does give you that edge. It gives you that 10% edge, or if you want to call it a 25% edge over lays versus, top versus bottom. You can look at that way as well. So what I want to do now is to have a look at these advanced filters. And I'm actually going to take all these tips off and not worry about the top section for the moment. I'm still going from the 12th to the 27th because that's when we started importing and saving this data for all these metrics. So through this system that's been built that I am going to share with you when we get more data in and it's ready, and technically it's ready to put onto the site. So let's have a look at the CSW rank. So let's have a look. Let's just reset that. Do this. Rank 1-to-1. I've got nothing else there. We'll run it again. Okay, so there's been 2,158 bets, and there's a rank 1 in every race, unless it's a field or first starters. 442 winners, 20%, a profit of 2.8%. So you can see that that's a little factor inside of the model, which you'll be able to test as well. 2.8%, probably not good enough to bet off, but certainly if you can add some other factors in there or use it in conjunction with your own stuff, it will give you an advantage. Let's reset this once again and now go through and have a look at Cam 1-to-1 rank. I'm just simply testing by rank 1 just to give you a feel for what we can do, and then we'll elaborate on this a bit later and go a bit deeper in future shows. So Cam, 2,155 for 451 wins. Once again, a 20% strike rate, which is great, and a 4.4% profit on turnover for just rank 1 Cam, which is great as well. Let me reset this again. I'll go to the cruising rank. You can put the rating in here as well. I find that just using the rank is enough for the moment. We can go and look at ratings when there's more data in there. So let's have a look at the rank, the cruising rank. So cruising, this isn't a speed map. Cruising does focus more on horses that are going to be on pace because they have higher cruising speeds. And when combined with the acceleration metric, that's what produces the Cam. But broken down individually, they give great value as well if you put things with them, which I'll show you. So the cruising rank 1, showing a loss of minus 4.6. I'd expect that to increase at the back end mail database where I run a lot of the bigger queries. Based on years of data, cruising rank 1 does show a profit. But so cruising, let's have a look what we would put with cruising. So one thing that's more important with cruising, I find, is cruising's more effective in shorter distance races. So let's put in 800 to 1,200. So 800 to 1,200 meters with a cruising rank of 1, and just see if this is improved. It's improved it a little bit. It's gone to minus 1.7. Let's see cruising as well. Cruising with the race pressure. Let's put very slow in there as well and see what we get back with that. It's gone down to minus 17.6. This is because of these low sample sizes. You only got 31 bets there. Let's put in slow as well and just take out these two. So we're going all distances just off slow early paces and seeing how cruising rank 1 changes. So it's still no good, minus 4.5% with those slow early paces. But this is the sort of thing that you can do. You can test, and as the sample sizes get bigger, they're going to become more important. So there's nothing really in the race pressure, but cruising and race pressure as time goes by will become very important. Let's just reset this so we've got nothing lingering and go and have a look at rank 1 for acceleration. See how acceleration performs with rank 1, showing a slight loss there as well. If we put the distance in for acceleration, let's see if that makes any difference at all. Slight improvement for that. So you can play around with these factors as well. Barriers are really interesting one as well. And I find barriers can work well with cruising. So let's just go back to cruising and have a look at, I'll just reset it. We'll go back to cruising, just put in rank 1 for cruising and have a look at a barrier. So cruising which more than likely they're on pace horses. Let's have a look at how they fare in wider barriers. So, wow, there's 32, there's 251 for 36 wins. Once again, it's a low sample size. I mean, this isn't realistic, but I think it will show a profit over time because horses that are drawn wide, which have that real high cruising speed, especially if they can get across in slow paces. Let's see if it, well, probably won't increase, but let's just have a look how it goes. Well, it did actually. 41 for 7, so that's slow paces, horses that are going to get across and find the lead or find on pace. Barrier 1, I find, works really well as well with cruising. So what this is doing is it is finding horses when you're looking at, look at that, 22% as well, 54 for 12 bets. That's with no tips or anything. That's just blank off these ratings that are available. So what that's doing is it's finding horses that have high cruising speeds that are going to get runs that are uninterrupted or not impeded. So they're going to get runs. They're going to get clear runs is what I'm trying to say. Not explaining it that well, but that's what I'm trying to say. So where do you find it on the site? You go to TKZ, the King Dot Zone, your cruising acceleration metric, your cams here, your cruising's here, your acceleration's here. So you'll find those metrics very easily on the site. You'll also see them here, your top 3 cams and your top 3, your race pressure here, sorry. So this race, which is the Golden Bullet race, Toowoomba race 3, is an average pressure race. But as you go on, you'll see this. So there's 5. This is very slow. So there's 5 race pressures, very slow, average, fast, and very fast. So let's see what else we've got, what I've added at the moment. I've got a race strength in there, which is my class rating. So with race strength, 90 and above is probably Saturday class, 95 and above would be group class. Weight, obviously you can pair things up. So on pace horses, or well, let's just do a little exercise with weight. Let's put in 45 kilos to 54 kilos. So lightweight horses that have a cruising. So these are good cruising horses. So that's rating, not rank. So 1 to 2 rank. Low weights in slowly early pace races, and run that analysis. I'm not sure if it's going to show a profit or not. Yeah, it does. So 102, 11 wins, 12% profit. So you can see what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to build queries within the data that's going to be available to you to get beyond these golden bullets, backs, and good roughies. The golden bullets, backs, and good roughies, a lot of them are derived from these sort of queries that I am running now off larger sample sizes. But if these golden bullets, backs, and roughies, I think they probably have a limited time span, as in the bookies may trim them up, so they're not going to be as profitable as what they may be over time. But let's have a good run first and then worry about that later. There's always a way. There's plenty of ways to skin a cat in this game, and our real value is going to come through this analysis screen, which I'll continue to build out, which you guys can use as well. That's it, I reckon, for this this episode. If there's any questions that you have or any queries that you want to run or anything that you want to know more about, please ask them in the comments below as well, and I'll get to them during the week. Run the queries and give you the answers as well. So, in summary, I've had a winning week. Hopefully, you've had a winning week as well. But it's not about last week. Let's get better. Let's worry about next week. Let's stay in the game. Let's stay in the zone. Let's attack these bookies. Let's keep getting better. I'll see you on Friday for another episode of Max Bet.